Which Marvel characters are Skrull imposters in Secret Invasion? Welcome back to Nerdist News. I'm Dan Casey, and today we're diving into the paranoid world of Secret Invasion. The Marvel series, based on the comic book event series of the same name, comes to Disney Plus on June 21st. It follows Nick Fury as he uncovers a deadly conspiracy in which shape-shifting Skrulls have been secretly replacing high-level government officials and powerful people in the MCU. In the spirit of the comic's original tagline, "Who do you trust?", naturally this show's raising a lot of questions among fans, the biggest of all being which Marvel characters that we've already met are actually Skrulls in disguise. Well, we're gonna break it all down for you in just a moment, but if you want to read all about it, Michael Walsh has you covered over on Nerdist. However, if you want to go into the show knowing nothing at all so you can solve the mysteries on your own, leave now and grab a nice tasty beverage instead. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Skrulls lurking among us is nothing new in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've been secretly residing on Earth since at least the mid-90s, as established in Captain Marvel. And while we've seen folks like Talos and his wife Soren doing some light Nick Fury and Maria Hill cosplay, the Skrulls have largely been allies of the human race rather than enemies, as we see in this show. It's one of the biggest divergences from the comics, in which Skrulls have been trying to invade the Earth for decades. Now, it didn't help matters that Reed Richards hypnotized the earliest Skrull invaders into thinking they were cows, trapping them in their bovine bodies for years on end. But that's a moot point, because the Fantastic Four doesn't exist in the MCU yet. Now it seems that the Skrulls who remained on Earth are tired of Nick Fury and Captain Marvel's empty promise of finding them another homeworld going unfulfilled. Led by the radical Gravik, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir, these sleeper cells have awoken and they're about to get real spicy with the rest of mankind. So which characters are Skrulls in disguise? Let's start with what would definitely be the most high-profile and potentially shocking option, James Rhodes.
Brody?
Well, maybe not that shocking because he's already been replaced once before.
Next time, baby.
In the latest trailer, Nick Fury sits down with Rhodey to discuss the Skrull invasion unfolding all around them. It's also where we see Rhodey informing Fury that he's the most wanted man on Earth. But why is Nick Fury being hunted? As we saw in Spider-Man Far From Home, he's clearly been off-world for an extended period of time.
Who's got my shoes?
And the Marvels trailer implies he's also been on the Peak, the off-world space station working with Saber, who are the spacefaring counterpart to S.H.I.E.L.D. So why is Nick on the lam? Well, probably it's connected to the trailer's final moments, and they imply that Fury was involved in the attack on the president's motorcade, but more on that in just a moment. What if the real reason Nick Fury's wanted is that the Skrulls are after him, and Rhodey has been a sleeper agent for years and years?
Brody?
Because at one point, Nick Fury's MI6 counterpart Sonya Falsworth asks him, "Why haven't you called any of your special friends?" And that is a legitimate concern, especially because having superpowered allies would make dealing with these secret invaders way easier. Now there are a couple potential arguments here. One is that Gravik is basically the MCU's version of Super Skrull. He was a genetically modified Skrull that had the superpowers of some of Earth's mightiest heroes. And if that's the case, then Fury clearly doesn't want even more superhero DNA to fall into the Skrulls' clutches. The other, more obvious answer, apart from it being too expensive to bring in franchise superstars, is that they've been compromised somehow. And who among the Avengers would not only be able to marshal the full resources of the US government and its intelligence apparatus, but also have deep knowledge of the Avengers' movements? That's right, folks, James Rhodes!
Look, it's me. I'm here. Deal with it. Let's move on.
Because not only has War Machine been a part of the Avengers since Age of Ultron, but he fits our key criteria for the perfect Skrull imposter. As my colleague Michael Walsh puts it, there are 4 key pillars. 1, they are a long-time character that we don't see coming, so this reveal has impact. 2, they're someone who's very powerful or well-connected in government. 3, there's someone about whose private life we know very little. And 4, there's someone who's adjacent to incredibly important people without being too in the spotlight themselves. Now, I don't know about you, but to us, that sounds like Rhodey to a T.
Brody?
Plus, if you look at the title treatments for Secret Invasion and Armor Wars, both share a strange aesthetic sensibility. They both have a form of a 3D transparent glass effect on their text. And it also connects to Don Cheadle's comments about how the events of Secret Invasion will directly set up what's happening in Armor Wars. Because after being replaced by a Skrull, Rhodey's going to be looking for a lot more than missing tech in Armor Wars. He's going to be looking for answers.
Boom, you looking for this?
Next on our list is the aforementioned President Ellis, the current POTUS in the MCU. And I say current because the trailer shows the president's motorcade under assault. The final shot of the latest trailer is edited in such a way to suggest that Nick Fury shoots down the president's helicopter, but that's clearly him inside the SUV we saw from previous trailers. And there are a couple explanations here as well. This could be Gravik and other Skrulls posing as Nick Fury to frame him for assassinating the president. It could be the Skrulls attempting to kidnap and replace President Ellis with a sleeper agent of their own. Or it could be Nick Fury attempting to take down the Skrull who's been posing as the United States Commander-in-Chief. But let's assume for just a moment that Ellis is already a Skrull in disguise. The revelation that the highest office in the nation has been compromised would be a massive shockwave for the MCU. It would also set the stage for Thunderbolt Ross to step in and seize power as we head into Captain America New World Order and Thunderbolts deeper in phases 5 and 6. And it's a tidy way to advance the non-multiversal storyline about the government taking increasingly militarized steps to police superhumans. Anyway, moving on. Next on our list is someone who's been around since the very inception of the MCU, Happy Hogan.
At least they used a good picture.
And while Jon Favreau's pretty busy in the galaxy far, far away, having someone like Happy turn out to be a Skrull agent would definitely fit the bill. Not only did he have deep connections to Tony Stark and the Avengers, but he was the head of security for Stark Industries and its considerable assets. Skrulls would definitely want to leverage Stark tech, and it would be another way to set the stage for Armor Wars. Now, someone else who fits the description of a perfect Skrull sleeper agent is Sharon Carter. Agent 13 has left S.H.I.E.L.D. and Black Ops behind to control the global black market instead as the power broker. Sharon broke bad in the Falcon and Bucky show, building her criminal empire in the chaos that followed the snap. With her level of access to vast criminal enterprises, laundered money, and connections to the intelligence community and the Avengers, she is the perfect person for Skrulls to replace. Plus, Sharon has since been pardoned by the US government and offered a position back in the CIA. So could the person she called at the end of the Falcon and Bucky show have been Gravik? Only time will tell. And speaking of characters we met in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, how about Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine? Good old Val's been popping up again and again like a much more cynical Nick Fury. She's recruiting the Kirkland brand Avengers to comprise what will eventually be the Thunderbolts. She tried to have Hawkeye assassinated, and now she's the acting director of the CIA. And not only that, but she arrested her ex-husband Everett Ross for treason in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Could this be typical Val behavior, or could she be doing this to serve the interests of her Skrull masters by weakening the people best suited to stop them, Earth's mightiest heroes? But what about other government agents like, say, Maria Hill? Talos' wife Soren replaced her during the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, but it was never explained where exactly she was. And I'm sure we'll get more context for that during Secret Invasion, but what if the Maria Hill that comes back is another Skrull in disguise? Because sowing discord and distrust among Fury's closest confidants would be a great way to up the ante and keep us on our toes, especially if we're expecting a Skrull we already know, like Soren. And last but not least, we come to what would definitely be the most shocking reveal of all, and that would be Tony Stark.
It's who?
I'm sorry, it is me.
Now I know what you're thinking. Dan, isn't he dead? Well, yes, first of all, have you read a comic book? And second of all, I agree, he is dead. But I think, if anything, we could see a brief cameo from a super high-profile character like Tony Stark as a way for Gravik and his colleagues to demonstrate they can turn into anyone, either living or dead. Yes, it's a bit of a cop-out, but it would definitely show what exactly they're capable of.
That's how I wish it happened.
Or, as Nerdist editor Ro Rusak believes, maybe we'll learn that old man Steve Rogers has been a secret Skrull ever since the events of Endgame. I mean, he's been conspicuously missing from world affairs, so where is he? Is he on the moon, enjoying a retirement home? Could we see him make a return as well?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Anyway, folks, there you have it. Those are our best guesses for which characters will be Skrull imposters in Secret Invasion. We'll find out for certain when the limited series debuts on Disney Plus on June 21st. In the meantime, though, tell us, what do you think? What characters do you think will be secret Skrulls?
Look, it's me. I'm here. Deal with it. Let's move on.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.com.